paying tribute, which what I think was the last real Honda engine, at least for the least expensive Honda. This is not a K engine. This was, if I'm not mistaken, the 1.5, the good old 1.5. Maybe has been bought to 1.6 at some point, from 97 to 2000 about around. So these Hondas, we still see them here in Canada driving down the road. Obviously, it's going to be from older persons who don't drive a lot. Um, this model was replaced later on with a Honda. Sorry about the sound. With the Honda that was kind of cheapened out, in my opinion. The 2001 Plus model had the problem with the suspension. That one, not this one. We can tell this is the engine, and let me see if we get you a better light. Yes, I think it's 1.5. Just correct me on this. With distributor, with cable throttle. Not sure where the cable from the gas pedal was, perhaps somewhere there behind it. The good old, the strongest perhaps Honda engine, the best ones that were used from 85, 86 up to the late 90s. Now this is what I call the last real Honda, although I do have a problem with them. Let's just get inside. This is the car. So I did own, we are in the junkyard, so obviously it's missing bits. We are in the junk. So I was saying that I did have the Honda from around 1991, and the EF generation. After the EF generation, there was, I believe, the EF generation, may mistaken, and then there was this generation. So this is two generations past my beloved so my car, my Honda from 90, early 90, was the EG, was the EF, then was the EG, and then was this one. So this is the dashboard. Notice those are kilometers, unless it has been rolled back, but it doesn't look like the numbers are aligned. So this is a mechanical odometer in kilometers. That's around 60 miles is 100 kilometers, so that's about 90 miles on it, 90,000 miles on it. Again, I was saying that after the EF model, Honda did start cutting down cost on the cabin materials. They did kind of reshape the interior, yes, but the material quality just went downhill, in my opinion. Maybe it depends on you. Maybe you got these models and you were pleased with the quality of materials, but I think it was less than the previous models. If I would look at the steering wheel alone, it just doesn't inspire me in any way. It looks fine, but if you look at the steering wheel from a 1990 Civic, the difference is night and day. There's no such buttons, weird buttons. All this to say that Honda did kind of lower the quality, at least for the interior of the cars, but I think also on the suspension. You correct me. The 1988 to 1991 Civic had multi-link suspension front and rear. That's why it did handle so well. I don't think the Honda did keep that suspension, which was more expensive to produce in this later, the following models, the following generations. It's still a very nicely done car. I mean, the interior, it's spacious for the size of the car. The dash is far away from you. The sides are far away from you. Look at the space inside. So there is a lot of room. Even for such small car, I'm 6 feet tall. I have no problem. I don't have to just cramp on my legs this way. I can reach easily for the pedals. The seats are still comfortable. I really don't have a complaint, but the seats in the EF model, the 90 model, the one from the early 90s were much better, I think. I mean, better, not much better. This happens to be a manual transmission. It's missing. So I was saying that the interior did feel cheaper, unfortunately. And by the way, Soichiro Honda, the owner of the company, basically he died somewhere in 91 or 92 or so. And that's basically the year Honda started to cut down on interior cabin quality of the materials and even in the design of it. If you look at the Civic 91 or 90, you just look at details. Even the dashboard is much more, I don't know, it's better design. It doesn't look more fancy, but it's just better. The letters, everything, it's just, you can tell the designers took more time to refine the components. So maybe when the owner died, you know, the company said, okay, the guy was really spending too much money on this car, so we are going, now that he's buried, we are going to go make perhaps more money for the company and less for the customer, give less to the customer. Still, these were nice cars to own, in my opinion. Again, I'm just comparing. I think that's obvious for me because that's just my reference, but for you, you may have liked this this vehicle. Soft materials here is quite impressive, right? This is soft as well. The cabin is spacious, although there is lacking rear legroom if you have the front seats all way back, but there's a lot of light coming in. There's a lot of vision around. A-pillars back in the days were not so thick, so the cars weren't doing that better, that well in crash tests, but in compensation to this, you had very good view, high ceiling, high roof here, a lot of head space, rear seats fairly comfortable for this size. And of course, even though they cut down the cost of the materials, most the rest, transmission, engine, components, suspensions, were reliable. Obviously Honda wasn't perfect. You read on forums or you check YouTube videos saying these Hondas were bulletproof. That's not true. There were actually issues, not big issues, but also I can tell you that the suspension components, especially the rubber parts or the rubber boots, did not last the life of the car. You need to replace them at some point in time, middle life maybe. So it was okay. I mean, the quality was there, the attention to quality was there, but don't expect it to be perfect either. But perhaps among the cars on the market, Hondas and Toyotas from that era, and maybe even some Nissans, were top quality, on the reliability standards. So again, perhaps the real, why I'm calling this the real old Honda school, if you want, it's mostly on the parts that you don't see: components, suspension, engine, transmission. But still the refinement and quality of those components was still there in this vehicle. I'm not sure about the next generation, so I think this needs to be remembered. And again, this would be perhaps the newer one of this would be 2000. We are in 2025, so that makes it at least 25-year-old, still running. And even Canada, let me just show you a bit outside. This was very typical for Honda. This is a real area, typical Honda rust here, and also typical Honda hooks here of the rear bumper would start rusting here for some reason. They never paid attention, at least for a couple of years. So yes, a car to remember, and I think it did serve many owners very good and with very low costs. Thanks for watching.